Hi, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on which jurisdiction you're in. I am Joy, and I am joined with Attorney Vandana here. We are here. We are attorneys here at our Edison office to speak about the B-1 and B-2 visa. So I'm very glad to be speaking with you today. So I'll be speaking about B-1 visa, the temporary visitor visa. Okay, before we discuss the permissible activities on B-1 visa, so for my experience, the clients would usually ask about the B1 visa whenever, for example, they're maxing out on L1 visa or they're maxing out on their H1B visa, and or like in this specific instance in 2020 when they are not able to, to travel to their home country. So they usually ask us, oh, what can I what can I do, right? So I usually ask them, okay, we can buy more time and apply for either a B1 or a B2 visa. Whenever a foreign national appears for an interview, a B1 interview before the consulate, or whenever they change their status here in the United States, what the officer usually looks into is the intent of that foreign national. What is he going to do here in the United States? The activities that he or she will perform. Now, this we have to discuss because um, the activities are listed, and if we go beyond this, they might construe the activity to be unauthorized employment. These are the permissible activities on B1 visa. Like if a foreign national is coming to the United States to consult with his business associates, or he's coming here to negotiate a contract, for example, traveling for specific education, professional business convention, or conference. And then when a foreign national comes here to settle an estate, when a foreign national comes here to participate in a short-term training, and of course, there are those who are coming to the United States because this is not their like final destination. They're just passing by. They're in transit. And of course, the deadheading or that certain air crewmen who enters the United States, some of them are eligible for B1 visa. Now, what does a foreign national need to show to the U.S. consulate abroad or here in the USCIS in order for his B1 application to be approved? Now, the foreign national first has to show the purpose of his trip. Again, the purpose of this trip has to be specified in the application, or if the foreign national is appearing before the consulate, he or she should be able to articulate or to say what the specificity, what is he exactly going to do here in the United States. And it should fall in with one of the activities listed with the preceding slide, because other than that, the officer might construe the activity as a unauthorized employment. Now, the foreign national must also show to the officer that he will remain in the United States only for a specific limited time period. So here, I know that it is not a rule that the foreign national is appearing for interview before the consulate for a B1 visa to have a return ticket with him, or someone who is just entering, let's say, from JFK to have a return ticket with him. That's not anywhere in the rules. But how else will the officer gauge or determine the number of time or the time or the limited time period that the foreign national will be here on that particular visa, on B1 visa? So that is a good. It's good to always have a return ticket, especially when entering the United States. At least the officer will know, oh, you're going to be here for 30 days only, or 60 days only. At least the officer will know that you will be here in the United States only for a specific limited period of time. Now, someone they usually ask me like, oh, okay, I'll be coming to the U.S. I have a B1 visa on my passport. Um, would they ask me about how much money I have in my pocket? And then I usually tell them, of course, if you tell them that you'll be staying in the United States for 6 months, and let's say you don't have a relative where you will stay, you have to show them that you have sufficient funds. How will you finance yourself here in the US? You'll be just staying in a hotel. So can you do that? So the foreign national has to show that he or she has sufficient funds to cover his expense here in the United States. And of course, very important, the foreign national has to show that he has sufficient ties in his home country, that he does not wish to abandon his for the home country. Either because he has permanent work there, his family are all there. He's just coming here just for that specific tasks that he has to do. And of course, the foreign national should not possess any of the disqualifications or the inadmissibility. So he should be otherwise admissible to enter the United States. So some person they ask about whether they can bring their nanny or they can bring their domestic help. The answer is yes, you can bring them with you here in the United States if you are a foreign U.S. citizen employer, but you are not permanently residing in the United States, or he is here. The U.S. employer is here, but he is just stationed here temporarily, or the employer can be someone who is a holder of is a non-immigrant. Basically, he is on B visa, E, F, H, I, J, L, M, O, P, or Q visa. So these are the non-immigrant visas. If the employer is on this status, then he can apply for B-1 first nanny. Of course, there are more ramifications there. The nanny should be working with the sponsor employer for at least 1 full year before coming to the United States, and the nanny or the domestic help should be paid at least the minimum wage. Okay, so how do we apply for B-1 visa? You apply before the US consulates outside the US. If you are in the United States, you file for I-539 or a change of status application before the USCIS. If you apply with the consulate, the visa stamp usually 10 years, depending on which country, reciprocity. The period of stay that is given, those who are entering on B-1 visa is usually from 1 month to 6 months. The officer can extend it for another 6 months. The max out date is 1 year. And there are no dependent visa available for B-1 visa holders. Now, I would like to give the baton to my colleague, Attorney Vandana, to discuss B-2.
Thank you, Joy. Hello, everyone. This is a very short presentation. You're already aware of B2 visa. So B2 visitor visas are non-immigrant visas for persons traveling to the US temporarily for tourism, pleasure, or visiting. And let's look at some of the requirements. The requirements are similar to B1. The number one is the applicant must intend to depart at expiration of the requested stay. The applicant must show employment, family, social ties to residents abroad. The applicant must show permission to enter foreign country at the end of stay, if not country of citizenship. The next one is the applicant must demonstrate adequate financial arrangements to carry out the purpose of the visit. The stay must be temporary and finite, with specific and realistic plans for the entire period. The travel must be for lawful purpose. Suspicion that the person may be swayed to remain in the US because of more favorable living conditions is not sufficient to refuse the visa as long as the person's current intent is to return home. Now, let's look at the permissible activities on B2 visa. Some of the activities permissible are tourism, vacation, visit with friends or relatives, medical treatment, etc. Next slide, please. So, some of the activities which are not permissible on B2 visa are study, employment, arrival as a crew member on a ship or aircraft, etc. So you can apply for B2 at the consulate by completing DS 160, and there are some exceptions to the interview requirement. So interviews are generally not required for children aged 13 and younger, and for adults who are 80 or older. So between 14 and 79, the interviews are required. So that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. Thank you, Serena.
Thank you all.